Hello and welcome to the live stream of the PNC Steel City Open, an APTA Grand Prix event brought to you in part by local support from Allegheny Smoke Works, Rob Roy Industries, Bill Few and Associates, Church Brew Works, and APTA national sponsors Viking, Save a Tree, and Uline. We are live at the Fox Chapel Racquet Club in Pittsburgh on the APTA network presented by eNet Live. I'm Rodney Workman, along with Mark Fischel, bringing you the women's quarterfinal between Cynthia Dardis and Amy Shay, the number 2 seeds, against Marion Cruz and Marcella Rodenzo. Mark, how you feeling about this match?
It's a rematch from Patterson last week, semifinals, won by Dardis and Shay in 3 sets. And I think it's going to be a real fun match. Marion Cruz is Liz Cruz's sister. Very talented, plays the deuce court. She and Marcella Rodenzo, real strong team, haven't done a lot of traveling before. Both are rackets professionals, Marion at the Weyburn Country Club and Marcella at the Trumbull Racket Club. And they're fun to watch. A lot of offense, they both move real well. Good team. And of course they're playing against the legendary Cynthia Dardis and Amy Shay, who are some of the best competitors our sport has ever known. Both rackets professionals. Cynthia Dardis is the Fox Meadow Club, and Amy Shay is the director of racket sports at the Woodway Club. They never die. They're terrific at adjusting their games, finding your weaknesses, and they just compete. They absolutely compete until the end of the day.
And what's interesting, Mark, here is that Dardis and Shay, very experienced team, and playing against these young kids, it just shows that paddle's a sport, that you can compete at the highest level into your 40s, and some players might even be able to compete in their 50s with the right partner.
Yeah, you just have nothing but respect for the way that Amy Shay and Cynthia Dardis compete, because they just fight and they fight and they fight. So and the players are warming up right now, and we're going to take a fast break and then be back with the match.
You have to have a passion for taking care of the customer, and you have to do your job as if your last name was Uline.
For my business, everything's go, 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 and the customer service alone is one of the most valuable things for us. We can call and the phone's picked up immediately. We never have to wait in a queue.
The phones don't ring at least half the time because they go directly into the headsets of our customer service representatives because they know we're waiting for it, and it can be a very fast transaction for them.
Order placed by 6 o'clock p.m., order ships out, customer gets that product more often than not in 1 business day.
Not only are those orders going out the door quickly, but accurately.
We live and breathe reliability.
But we really do care if a product's returned. We do care if it's not working right. We try to do it better every day.
Every single person looks at customer comments. I mean, that's where we learn.
Come to Uline because service has always been much, much better here. I always feel like you're treated like you appreciate it, you know.
We do it well. We do it real well.
Once a customer gets used to that, why would you want to leave? We treat you well.
Welcome back to the PNC Steel City Open. We are in the quarter-final round of this match between Dardis and Shay, our number 2 seeds, against Cruz and Rodenzo.
Rodney, let's talk a little about the weather. We're here at the Fox Chapel Racket Club. It's just a beautiful setting, and it's warm weather paddle. How do you think that differs than if this match is being played in February in 20-degree weather?
Well, Mark, it's a great question, and obviously the ball bounces a lot more in this warm weather. It's more like a super ball, and so the points will be longer. I've always said in my years of coaching that you're going to drive the ball a lot more off the screens on warm weather days and use the screens more to generate offense. You know, This is an amazing court because there's a mountain coming right out of the side here, the far side. I've never seen anything so beautiful right here. So anyhow, I don't know if that's going to be a distraction over there. These girls are all good. They're at the top of their game, and I think we're in for some long points.
Yeah, both teams made it here relatively easily. Cruz and Rodenzo had a 6-1, 6-1 victory. Dardis and Shay were pushed a little bit by Holleran and Ortiz, 6-1, 7-6. But I think it's really going to be a good match. The teams know each other. All 4 women are from Fairfield County, or currently living and teaching in Fairfield County, and they've played against each other a number of times. So they know each other. Not going to be any secrets out here. I look for a real tough competitive match.
Interesting. It is the classic matchup of youth versus experience, and in my experience in this game, usually experience wins.
Well, that was the case last week at Patterson, Rodney. And the question is, can the youthful talent win out today?
What were the scores of that match again?
It was a 3-setter. I think it was 6-3 or 6-4 in the third.
Awesome. So it's been sitting in the crawl of Cruz and Rodenzo for a week, and we'll see if they turn it around. Do you have any specific strategies do you think they should try against Dardis and Shay?
You know, one of the things I love about Dardis and Shay is their willingness to adjust. I mean, it's been so many times you see them lose the first set, and then they shift things around. I mean, I think what you're going to see from Cruz and Rodenzo is the way everybody plays Dardis and Shay, is they hit a lot of hard balls at Cynthia Dardis. They try and make her move out of her corner. They try and expose her lack of foot speed. But Dardis is one of the smartest players in the game. She knows that well, and she'll adjust. So we have 3 of our 4 players on the court. They're practicing serves, and we'll be getting started momentarily. Umpire Marshall Chapin, one of the great umpires of the APTA Tour, a regular, and he'll do a terrific job out there. We should take a moment to thank Patty Hogan and Dave Broderick for all their work with the APTA Viking Junior Tour in New Jersey and other parts. They've really got that rolling well, and that's been tremendous.
And I think we'd be remiss if we don't give a special shout out to our executive director, Ann Sheedy, who actually lives in Pittsburgh and does yeoman's work and keeping the game going.
She made the long drive here from her house. I think it took 8 minutes. And while we're thanking people, Rodney, we got to thank Jerry Vion for all her hard work on the live stream. Jerry actually retired from teaching paddle because she didn't have time to both teach paddle and run the live stream. So this has become a full-time job for her. In fairness, it's only about 45 weeks of the year she's working, so it's not year-round.
Well, I can speak from experience, having done this for about 7 or 8 years now, and seeing where it was and where it is today, and how much improved it's been with Jerry at the helm. So special thanks to her, and it just keeps getting better.
And as I mentioned in one of our earlier matches, this is fully funded by the APTA. So if you're enjoying this and you're not a member of the APTA, I encourage you to go to our website and join. Lots of great APTA initiatives working on court surfaces, junior paddle, obviously the live streaming and live scoring. So all that costs money, and we need your support to make it happen.
And for those who've never played out there, it's one of the greatest winter games you'll ever find. You can cross-country ski, jog, or play platform tennis. And in the Chicago area, it's grown from 200 to 300 in our leagues to approximately 9,000, I think we're climbing up to. Fun game.
Save-A-Tree is proud to be the official sponsor of the APTA. Let Save-A-Tree focus on your landscape so you can focus on your game. Enjoy every outdoor moment. Save-A-Tree arborists provide professional tree, shrub, and lawn care services throughout the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Chicagoland, and Twin City regions. Visit saveatree.com today to schedule your complimentary landscape assessment. Rodney, Jerry and I were talking earlier. Save-A-Tree is taking care of Jerry's 50-acre farm in upstate New York, and she just loves them. She says they're tremendous.
Wow. Covering a lot of turf up there.
Okay, so the players are finishing up their warm-up serves and should be getting started shortly. 1 minute.
Well, the sun could be a factor here at this time of the day, but there is some cloud cover up there, so it'll be in and out. Great opportunity for Marion and Marcella.
This is going to be a fun match, Rodney. Kind of like the puncher and the boxer, different styles.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I love these matchups with the young kids coming in and knowing that they're going up against players who know the game inside and out. And if they're not careful, they'll get a quick lesson. They got to be patient and pick their spots and be careful not to overhit in this warm day.
Rodenzo and Cruz are a patient team. They're not just free swingers.
We're waiting on the live stream for them to come back from commercial, and then we'll get ready to go. Here we go.
Okay, the players are
Ladies
starting.
And gentlemen, this quarterfinal round match is best of 3 sets with tie breaks. To my right, from Trumbull, Connecticut, Marion Cruz. Her partner from Monroe, Connecticut, Marcella Rodenzo. To my left, from Stamford, Connecticut, Cynthia Dardis. Her partner from Wilton, Connecticut, Amy Shay. Dardis Shay won the toss and have elected to serve.
So it looks like Cynthia Dardis is going to be serving. Marion Cruz in the deuce court. Marcella Rodenzo in the ad court, both wearing white visors. Here we go.
Notice right off the bat, Marion's got a fairly flat forehand. Doesn't roll it too much on that return. Good looking backhand, Mark. Again, for those players who are new to the game, the basic 101 strategy in paddle is you lob in the green, you drive in the blue.
15 love.
Good ball to drive, just hit it in the top of the net. I remember Hank Irvine back in the early 80s, Mark, when he'd come to Chicago and teach us, emphasized just never hit the ball in the net in this game.
15 all.
There's that big forehand from Rodenzo.
$30-15.
It's a tiny court. On a hot day, it gets even smaller.
30
Again,
all.
two big forehands from Rodenzo.
Bomb she has over there on that forehand side. Like the way Marion sticks her nose in there and it looks like it's going to nick, she comes all the way over from the forehand side to help her partner. Wow.
Boy, that's a lot of nicks in the first game, Rodney. And Mark Parsons didn't even play.
Or Lauren Zink. She hits a ton of those too, but you don't hit those nicks if you don't aim for it, gang. It's not by accident. 40-30, another bomb forehand.
And there's a great play from
Dardis
Cynthia
Shay.
Dardis
They
letting
lead
the
the
ball
first set,
through.
1 game love.
Ball comes way off the back wire, and all of a sudden your opponent is hitting the first volley, not you.
Yeah, and she swung so smooth, didn't overhit. No substitution for experience. What percentage of the players at this level, Mark, hold serve?
I think it's about 50-50, Rodney. I think there's 0 advantage to serving. So Marion Cruz to serve now. Love won first set. She'll be serving to Cynthia Dardis in the forehand court.
15 love.
Marion's got a nice cut for overhead serve. slice on it.
Marcelli gets caught on the deuce on the forehand volley there.
Shay rips
Shay
the drive.
is really good at finding that spot. Maybe the best at the women's game at finding the right hip. Great volley from Cruz from
30-15.
Deep in the court, too.
Great volley. Right through the middle. I love Shay's both returns early, right at the net player, up the line, trying to find that hip. Letting that net player know right away that she's going to see some action.
And you see Cruz and Rodenzo pounding the ball into Dardis's corner early. As Shay misses a backhand. 40-15.
Great return.
40-30.
Dardis loads on that forehand, right on the line. Let's see where Shay hits this return this time. She's hit 2 up the line.
We'll never know.
Deuce.
Aren't those big points, Rodney, when you have a chance to close the game out, you fault?
Hurts.
Mistakes really hurt you.
I mean, points are so hard to win straight up here,
Shay.
right, Mark? And then you give it away. That one hurts. So now, break point.
And that's 3 forehand volleys Rodenzno's missed, and their Cruz misses one.
Dardis, Shay, they lead the first set.
So from 40-15, they missed 4 forehand volleys.
Dardis, Shay's a master, making them flip over that forehand. For those out there watching, commit to that backhand. 80–90% of your volleys should be hit with the backhand.
I would say Amy Shay is the best at the women's game in doing that.
Evidenced by that first game.
Love 15.
Great drive off the screen from Miriam.
And there, Rodenzo finds Shay's forehand volley. Little turnabout, Rodney.
Nice blitz. Just took her time coming in, calculated, didn't just totally kamikaze in there and kept her control. Love 30. Interesting play by Dardis. It's a great lob there.
Yep, missed the volley overhead low.
And again, for those out there new to the game, if you're struggling on your overhead, just hit for the middle. Don't miss those overheads wide when you're struggling. Make them beat you. Gotta love Rodenzno's forehand, Mark.
Those last 2 forehands she hit right at Cynthia Dardis's left hip, not at her right hip.
Great shot.
15-40. In.
Some question as to whether the ball was in or out. It was definitely good.
I think Amy Shay didn't see the ball bounce.
Game Cruz Rodenzo. Dardis and Shay lead the first set 2-1.
1-2. The official paddle of the APTA Viking is engineered to provide superior feel and the perfect balance of power, control, spin, and durability. The Viking paddle is the official paddle of the APTA, of the APTA Nationals and President's Cup, as well as of the Grand Prix Tour. So what do you see so far, Rodney?
Well, I just see each team trying to figure out a game plan, trying to crack the code on how they're going to win this match. A lot of balls long early, which is predictable in the warm weather. You got to get calibrated out here on these types of days. I mean, it's 72 degrees, no wind, some sun. I like,
15.
you know, the real interesting thing about Dardis and Shay is they drive that return of serve up the line a lot.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot in the first 4 games.
And there's nothing wrong with that out there. Nobody's head hunting. It's part of the game.
Oh, what a get from Rodenzo.
Love that shot. Here we go. Again, another overcooked
30.
lob.
Those are the ones you just can't afford to miss. You're going to miss some volleys when players hit good drives, but missing lobs, it's like shooting yourself on the foot.
And to that point, Mark, the great Rich Mayer says you never miss a lob, ever. And he probably didn't miss many.
Great lob from Shay. Love 40.
Love 40. $15.40.
What a volley.
Couple misses from Amy, and there's her trademark move where she slams her paddle against her sneaker. Love the way they compete, Rodney. Another fault.
Game, Dardis and Shay.
Again.
They lead the first set 3-1.
A lot of that is the pressure that Shay puts on you with her return to serve, but rather than force the serve deep in the box, let's see some I formation, Australian, maybe stay back.
Well, that's
not much advantage to the net in a day like today.
I was surprised when they won the toss, Dardis and Shay did, they served. And on a day like today, we generally would receive. But rule number one, you got to get the ball in play. And most of the errors today will be long. Just missed it wide.
30 love.
Cruz and Rodenzo missing a lot of shots right now. But again, this is the brilliance of Dardis and Shay. They don't beat themselves.
Great,
good blitz.
Great spot.
15.
Cruz hit that ball in a very good spot. What a volley. Dardis bent those knees on that low volley, got down.
Yeah, Cynthia Dardis is one of the best volleyers on the tour.
Great use of the backhand volley, little chicken wing there. Another backhand volley, beautifully done by Shay. Well, hot days, these volleyers need to absorb the pace because it's so easy to volley long.
I think that's the hardest thing to do in the warm weather. Volley the ball.
40-15.
It's a great point for Dardis and Shay. Great volleys. They handled the assault and the barrage of forehands.
We got our defending national champions, Hannes and Van Starenburg, serving 2-3 in the first set.
4-1.
Another hold for Cynthia Dardis. She's the only one to hold serve in the 5 service games. She's held twice.
Well, you mentioned they played last week in Patterson.
Yep.
And 6-3 in the third set to Dardis and Shay. So
Cruz Rodenzo won the first set there.
in tennis, they would definitely be at a disadvantage, the elder team, you know. But
I would
that's
say
what's
disadvantage is being kind, Rodney.
What's that?
Disadvantage is being kind.
Well, that's what's so great about our game, is you can compete with the young kids
missed volley.
Long time.
Love 15.
She jackknifed up. She's got to stay down on that. Get down to eye level with the ball. Stay down.
It's interesting. Amy Shay has sprayed a bunch of returns, and yet they've still broken both times they've served.
Here's a good lob. Higher than the lights.
And there's the hard overhead. Cynthia Dardis is waiting for it.
Great lob there. It's a great play by Dardis.
Yep, and you can see her looking for it.
30-15.
She's not happy with her shot selection there. She pulled a few rabbits out of the hat to stay in that point, and then she drove a ball in when she was a little off balance, and she knew it was a mistake.
$40-15.
Great lobs.
Oh, Amy wanted that. Amy Shay wanted that ball.
Yes, she did. Up. Great hands.
Not sure exactly how clean that volley was, but it was very effective.
Rodenzo, Dardis and Shay lead the first set 4-8.
Well, the key to Rodenzo making that volley is she bent her knees. It's like she's squatting, sitting in a chair. 4-2.
4-2. First set. Amy Shay to serve to Marion Cruz. See, there was a forehand that Rodenzo had, another one she hit, and she didn't spot the ball. She hit Amy Shay's backhand volley perfectly.
Yep, it's out.
That's a tough ball to drive. That ball's so low and close to the net. Getting that up and down over a 34-inch net's very difficult.
Yes, it is.
And just remember, our net is only 2 inches shorter than a tennis net, but the court is 1/4 the size. So it'd be like playing tennis on a beach volleyball net.
That's a great visual for those out there learning the game, because now you're not tempted to hit the angles. Once you understand that, this is a straight ahead game, more up the middle, where tennis is more angles.
Great lob from Rodenzo.
Got the nick.
Cruz catches the nick.
15-30.
15-30. Seems like both teams have settled down a little bit, Rodney. Play's getting a little better.
Yeah, they're definitely understanding each other's games, and they're trying to execute their game plan. Patience for Dardis and Shay. Pick the right balls to drive. Look at that. Good coverage from Rodenzo coming over, playing the nick. Dardis and Shay built a great wall up there.
Well, I'm not sure what happened on that ball.
I was shielded. I didn't quite see what happened either.
Looks like Marcella might have hit herself on the backswing. She wasn't ready for that ball. It was a relatively easy shot.
$30-all. Great backhand volley. Little chicken wing there. See, I like your point, Mark, not spotting the balls up. They're hitting good hard drives, but they're not getting them to the tiny little targets of the right hip. And I always use Greg Maddox and now Kyle Hendricks of our Chicago Cubs that don't have the hardest power, but they locate.
It's always about location. It's not about power. Break point, chance to get back on serve here.
Huge point for Cruz and Rodenzo.
Oh, great shot from
What a volley.
Shay.
Deuce.
Amy's very sorry. I don't know, Rodney. I might have fist pumped after that one.
Well,
it was the right play.
It was a heck of a volley. Well, yeah, that's the thing Hank Irvine always used to say. You get up, somebody up there gets there close and stick them.
Yeah, that's the only way to end points. So back to deuce. Just to recap, it's 4-2, deuce, first set. It's interesting, Rodney. Watch Amy Shay serve. She hesitates a step. Almost like she's evaluating the serve before she makes the decision to come to net.
Little delay. Gotta get those lobs deeper. Dardis and Shay will make you pay if you lob short over and over. There's another short one. Another short one. Get great volley. They're definitely playing Cruz's corner. That's the strategy.
Staying away from that big Rodenzo forehand.
Mess with fire, you get burnt. Just to keep her honest. Swing one in there.
Missed forehand volley. On the next court, Rick de
Advantage
Molenvold
Cruz
and Liz
Rodenzo.
Jaffe are up 3-2, an early break on our #1 seeds. Liz Cruz and Gabby Nicolescu. I think that's ad for Cruz and Rodenzo.
Oh.
Deuce.
Good swing, just catches the top of the tape.
She'd love to have that one back. You got to get the ball in play, rule number 1. Rule number 2, keep the ball in play in this game. Applies to tennis as well. Going to the I formation, Mark.
This is one of those things that Dardis and Shay do so well. Just move it around, make their opponents think. Isn't that the beauty of our game, Rodney?
Well, it is. You know, that's what makes it fun. Where strategy is huge part of it. And it's like playing chess or backgammon. Tennis, you can just blow people off the court with power,
Advantage
serve, big
Dardis
forehands.
Shay.
Point for 5-2.
Another ball hit long. Got Dardis stabbing at the volley a little bit.
Too handy.
Mm-hmm. More footwork. Gonna increase her footwork intensity.
Miriam Cruz is not hitting the forehand at all, is she?
No.
Ship that ball back in play.
No, she hits the flat forehand to begin with. She doesn't really come over the ball. That's
Shay.
hard on a warm day. You got to have some revolution on the ball to make it dip.
That last ball was a down-up overhead, and she could have taken a good cut at it, and she didn't. She kind of took a half-hearted swing.
Here we are, I formation. Rodenzo gets a good pitch to hit. Great volley. Waterfall overhead. Too good.
Game Dardis Shay. They lead the first set.
Again, Mark,
5
it goes
games
back
to
to those
2.
short lobs. Eventually, they're going to get the nick or the perfect waterfall. Even a drop shot is opened up on short lobs.
What do you think we need to see more of from Cruz and Rodenzo?
Less errors for starters. They are the point enders, as we've said in this sport many times. You know, you just can't be the point ender. Obviously, if you've got a hammer forehand, you're going to make more errors, but you're also going to create more winners and compromising the opponent. So maybe they should talk a little more too. I don't see them chit-chatting and huddling up.
There's been very little of that. I think that's a really good comment, Rodney. Okay, Marcelo Rodenzo to serve, 2-5, first set.
Look at that two-hander.
Oh, great forehand from Amy Shay. A little inside out, Rodney.
Inside out, and she used the whole court. The prior drive, she really hit the alley on the one side, then she goes the alley on the other side. That's well done. Look at Dardis. That's just tremendous sketch. She threw that lob up, giving her time to get back and play. Now we got to get these lobs deeper. More of the short stuff.
About to say, Rodney, you made a great comment to that, and I think that's probably the biggest difference in the match right now. How much better Dardis and Shay are lobbing than Cruz and Rodenzo. That's fourth or fifth time they've had the nick, but you don't hit the nick from deep lobs.
You are correct, sir. Their lobs are their weakness at this stage, so they know what to work on for the future. Because if they can get the lobs deeper, what's that going to do for their offense?
Improve it dramatically. Okay, it's love 30 here.
Correction, that ball was on the line.
Okay, ball called out by Cynthia Dardis, overruled by the chair umpire.
15-30.
15-30.
Are they, is that a loss of point, Mark?
Loss of point, yep.
I like that roll. You look at both Cruz and Rodenzo, their serve, they use the tennis footwork. They spring in.
There's the big forehand from Amy Shay, takes us to 15-40.
And look how she lets that ball elevate, getting higher than the net, gets on top of it, and gets that laser beam down at her shoe tops.
And spots it at her right hip.
All day long. That's why she's the #2. They're the #2 team in the country. Wow.
Game, Dardis and Shay, they win the first set, 6
She
games
runs
to
too,
2.
Mark.
Okay.
Ladies,
first set to Dardis and Shay, 6 games to 2. And we'll be back in a moment after these messages right here on the APTA Network, sponsored by eNet Live.
You have to have a passion for taking care of the customer, and you have to do your job as if your last name was Uline.
Welcome back to the PNC Steel City Open. We are in a quarterfinal round of the match between Cynthia Dardis and Amy Shay, the number 2 seeds, against Miriam Cruz and Marcela Rodenzo. Dardis and Shay won the first set 6-2. Mark, what's going to have to happen for Cruz and Rodenzo to flip this thing around?
You know, Rodney, for me, it's the same thing you can say in virtually every match you watch, which is lob better. Everything starts with lobbing. It's not glamorous, it's not pretty, it's not dynamic. It just helps you win. And that first set, you saw a lot of short lobs from Cruz and Rodenzo, and Dardis and Shay were able to control play because of it.
Well said, and I'll go one step further. Back in, I think, 06, Uline wanted me to work with Kevens' lob. Before they went to the Nationals Rochester, they went out and won, and Brian said the lobbing was the difference, which opened up their offense, and they won their first national title.
It's amazing, isn't it, Rodney? At every level of the game, it makes a difference. Okay, so we had a 26-minute first set, won by Dardis and Shay. Cynthia Dardis will start out set number 2.
Obviously, Dardis and Shay volley like champs because they are champs, and so it comes down to the lobbing and getting them off the net, and if Cruz and Rodenzo don't start pushing them back, it's going to be another quick set.
I always feel those first couple games are so important if you've lost a set to change the momentum. And you saw Amy Shay miss a relatively easy overhead in the first point. You do not want to donate points.
No, you don't. There's a better lob. Got her behind the service line, and that's a pretty good barometer of whether or not you've lobbed well or not, or your opponent's hitting it behind the service line. At least make them take a step back and don't let them come forward like that. A great lob. Good cover. Waterfall and a nick.
But you can't be beat by that ball off the line. You got to be over there playing that. You got your partner to help you in the middle. Rodezno's got to play that ball up the line when it nicks.
I'd advise Cruz and Rodenzo to play a little squash to learn how to dig those shots out of the corners better.
Bodman and Hayward at 4-all in the first set with our defending national champions, Hanisch and Van Starnberg.
Boy, Shay is taking dead aim at that nick, and she is sniffing around there every time. There's another one, almost.
30-15.
It's a hot one, so there's going to be a lot of balls overhit, just like that one. You see Dardis and Shay's footwork on the serve is old school. Look at this, trench warfare.
Yeah, there's a ball that Shay's got to retreat, play that ball off the back wires, and not try and pull off a great half volley.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Retreat. A little blitzing now. Maybe Cruz and Rodenzo talked about coming in a little more.
New strategy. Like to see that. It's not working, change it.
Did you just make that up?
I learned this from you, Rodney. Big forehand from Rodenzo, but again in the wrong spot.
Great two-hander. I love Cruz's two-hander. I'd like to see her get a little more top on the forehand. Oh, lucky leg cord. Overhead up the middle, pinches the backcourt team.
Just got a score from Lauren Mandel. First set, Cruz Nicolescu 6-4 over Molenvold and Jaffe. They were behind the whole way.
Getting them back now. Rodenzo, good cover on the nick.
Oh, it's right there, played it brilliantly. Game point, you can't make those errors. Back to deuce.
A couple more years of seasoning, they won't miss that. She won't miss it. This team's going to be tough. They got some real improvement areas. If they take care of those, look out. There's a lob. Rodenzo, another good lob. Great touch on it.
Annika van Starnberg serving for the first set, 6-5.
Advantage, Cruz Rodezno.
Uncharacteristic missed overhead by Dardis.
So break point for Cruz Rodezno.
Rodezno's got to hit this shot big. She's just not hitting the spots. She's making and executing the shots, but it's not having an effect.
Every ball's on the left hip.
Short lob. There's that waterfall. It's been giving her trouble. Good dig. Break point.
So Cruz Rodezno switched up in the backcourt. You don't appear that interested in switching back.
Where's that forehand been?
Yeah.
I love that shot from Cruz. She needs to learn how to use that screen a little more on those hard overheads. Get a good ball to drive. Look at Cruz coming over. Looking for a nick. Great point, Mark.
This is interesting, Rodney. As the points get more important, they get longer. Everybody plays a little more conservatively on the big points.
That is a factoid. Nice. I love her patience on that. Just lob it back. Cut. Nope.
Too many short lobs.
Oh, what a point.
Deuce.
But again, the short lob got them in trouble. I really feel like they need this game. A lot of break opportunities and they haven't converted.
Yeah, this will hurt if they don't get this one. Both on the scoreboard and in their mind. You know, the longer the point, I've always said, the more important it is to win it. You know, you get, and the longer the game, and in this game, you've got games that go 10, 15, 20 deuces.
They have a lot more value.
If you lose those games, it breaks your spirit a little bit. So,
again, same thing with the Rodezno forehand. Really well hit ball, but not spotted properly.
And I'd like to see some drives off the screens.
Game, Dardis Shay. They lead the second set, 1 game love. They won the first set,
Dardis,
6-2.
third in a row.
How many chances did Cruz and Rodezno have that?
They had 3 break opportunities that game.
Yes. That's such a frustrated feeling when you're playing a match and you're getting the ads, and you can't convert. The seasoned veterans, just business as usual, just wait out the young upstarts. This is just classic old school versus new school. Very fun to watch.
And that's an interesting analogy, Rodney, because for new school to beat old school, it's got to be played really well. Mediocre old school will beat mediocre new school every day of the week.
Well, even mediocre old school might be pretty good new school.
Yes.
You know, because they're just more patient and make less errors.
There's a great lob setting up the Shay forehand.
And I love the Dardis blitz, which creates double trouble. They know the Shay's going to hit the bomb, but then they see out of the corner of their eye Dardis blitzing. I give Dardis the assist on that. They've had opportunities, Mark. Look at the...
Oh, she was on that ball.
Yeah.
15 all.
That peg roller trying to frame her up.
That's the shot everybody hits at Cynthia Dardis. She knows it's coming.
And she's deceptively quick. She almost ran that thing down. I mean, the first thing you got to do is get out of the way of it. The El Matador move, and then get on your horse. Great overhead.
30-15.
No, she walked up to the line to start, but she didn't actually hit the ball. They switched before.
I guess the correct answer would be, Rodney, yes, you're losing your mind.
Marcella walked to the line before.
It's the first game anybody can serve.
You hit the first serve. Yep, that's
But
right.
I think she thought they one
switched
serve,
in the
one
game,
point.
yeah.
Yes. What a
get
dig.
from Amy Shay. Dardis and Shay switching back to their regular sides.
There's the lob right there. Give them a steady dive to that. You're going to get some drive opportunities.
And they have been.
The question is, who's got the advantage now, the net team or the backcourt team? How do you spell paddle? P-A-T-I-E-N-C-E. See, now you're getting into the staring contest program. And then that happens.
Although just a great lob from Cynthia and Dardis set up the swing. Cruz and Rodenzo were in all sorts of trouble on that point. Now the let cord didn't help, but they were in trouble. Boy, they really need to hold serve here.
30-40.
They seem to be winning a lot of the points that don't matter as much. Early and they get ahead 30-15, 40-30. But then Dardis and Shay show why they're the #2 team in the country. Oh, no. When you consistently lob the ball deep, even if you lob a ball that's going out, they tend to hit them, you know, and so I think 1 or 2 of the lobs were going long, and Cruz and Rodenzo hit them. Look at that rip.
But again, wrong placement. As Amy Shay catches the nick again.
Dardis and Shay, they lead the
Squeeze it
second
out.
set 2 games to
What's
love.
interesting about Cruz is she never unloads on that forehand in the deuce court. But
Yeah,
when
we've seen
she's
very little of it.
In the ad, she pounds it. You know, with a lot more top spin, and where in the deuce court it's more of a flat push drive. Well, there she goes. There it is.
About time.
Well,
15 love.
And then Rodenzo misses a volley. So I like the play, a good bomb up the line, and then with blitz, missed volley. 15 love. You'll watch Shay's footwork. She does have a little catch, a little baby step before she serves
30
it. but
love.
It's old school, just roll in. Where the new school, they launch in.
And you see it here. Dardis and Shay are just allowing Cruz and Rodenzo to beat themselves.
Good sportsmanship.
30-15.
Dardis.
Almost 3 consecutive missed returns. How do you feel about that, Rodney? You missed 2 returns. You going to drive the third?
No.
Me either. I hate when my team misses 2 returns. If my partner misses a return, I'm much less likely to drive the ball. But is that old school, new school?
I think that is. That's definitely new school will keep hitting it, and they'll try to swing their way out of a deficit. I mean, you look at Djokovic and those players in the tennis nowadays. They get behind, they go bigger. But that's tennis, not paddle. But there's a mentality out there that we can hit our way back into this.
30 all. Got a break with that ball that hit Cynthia Dardis. Got them back in the game.
I mean, they have to get on the board here. That being Cruz and Rodenzo.
That forehand from Rodenzo was better spotted. again, short lobs, getting them in trouble. It's a better one.
Yeah. There he goes. At least she's on the service line.
Well, that's a ball Miriam Cruz has got to take a swing at. She had a real good opportunity there and kind of guided the ball rather than hitting it.
Keeping the pressure on Cruz in the forehand court. Staying clear of that forehand from Rodenzo. For those out there watching, you can hear Dardis and Shay, even though they've played together hundreds and hundreds of times, they call every overhead.
How's this point going to end, Rodney?
I think a overhit ground stroke.
Or a nick.
There's a good lob. I thought an overhit overhead.
Missed the overhead long. You can see Cruz Rodenzo playing far more conservatively this game than they played previously. After getting ahead early that game, they had 3 or 4 opportunities to hit the ball during the course of the point and didn't.
Yeah. And maybe you wear down the elder team. You know, the longer it goes, you'd think they'd have an advantage, but that might not be the case as per last week. Short lob.
I just don't like that play, Rodney. Too far to travel to make that volley.
I mean, you end up hitting the volley just a hair inside the service line.
While you're moving.
And below the height of the net. So, you know, she took a chance. Didn't work out.
But to me, those are the points you have to play more cautiously, more conservatively. Because how many times does she win that point? 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5?
Depends on how high the volley is. But that one she had to volley from below the height of the net, so not many there.
Would like to have seen her just thrown up a little lob volley and start over.
I mean, old school also is when you start
Shay.
digging a hole, getting behind, you pitch a tent and just start lobbing. You go into a roper dope mode and just really try to let your opponents know this is what we're going to do. You're going to have to beat us. You're going to be out here a long time versus just quick points.
And that's how they played the deuce point to get the ad point. That's a great play from Dardis.
Tremendous.
No
Tremendous.
hero volleys. Just get the ball back and play.
Look
and then
at
she
Dardis.
wins the point with a forehand.
She was a highlight reel in that
Shay,
point.
They lead the second set 3 games to love. They won the first set 6-2.
Well, down 3 love. They're going to have to right the ship, Mark.
That was a tough game to lose.
Uline is the leading distributor of shipping, industrial, and packaging materials to businesses throughout North America. We ship over 2.5 million boxes every day, but we are so much more than a box company. More than 32,000 quality products are always in stock and ready to ship. Outstanding customer service means we're here when you need us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Uline, the best selection, products, and people for an unforgettable customer experience.
Okay, Rodney, in the next court, first set to Bodman Hayward. I think they're still on a high from their big win from their Cubbies last night. They take the first set from the defending national champions, 7-6.
Yes, they are on a high, and I was down there. Liz was down there on Wednesday night at Wrigley in the rain, watching her Cubs.
Well, that was crazy they played that game, Rodney.
In the rain?
That was not baseball weather.
Nope, it wasn't, and I was wet and cold when it was over.
Great ball from Dardis there.
15 love.
What a
I
shot.
guess called out.
Nope. Oh, yeah. Love
15 love.
15 love, excuse me.
15 all.
Just too many of those points they're giving away. If you're faulting once a game and your opponent's not, it's a huge amount of points to give away.
Excuse me, love 30, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, love 30. First ball was out. First in.
Look at that sneaky backhand.
That's great playing from Amy Shay. She catches the top of the net there, but she keeps asking questions. Can you make this volley? Can you make this volley? Moving the ball around. That last one from Rodenzo barely crawled over the net.
Mm-hmm.
This is a must-hold for Rodenzo.
Look at Houdini.
Yeah, but that's another great example of Amy Shay just staying in the point, not doing anything crazy. Second set, 3-2, Cruz and Nicolescu. A rare missed lob from Cynthia Dardis takes us to deuce.
30 all. What a
that
point.
Was some forehand volley.
El Matador. Dardis stays free of getting hit. Boy, Amy Shay loves that two-hander. Doink.
Great nick there on a deep lob. Defending national champions back with a vengeance, Rodney, as they take the first 3 games of the second set. For Hanisch and Van Starnberg.
Working that middle in this point. Cruz and Rodenzo has 5 straight overheads up the middle, softer. Now she goes out for the nick. Getting close. That lob was higher than the lights. That's when you know you've hit a good lob.
And there's Dardis hitting the ball with a descending blow. So it's traveling downward as it crosses the plane of the net. And it draws the error.
And to your point earlier, it was right hipped. She flipped it to the forehand. And I'll tell you, gang, when you can get them to flip to the forehand, it's hard to square that paddle face up.
That's the other major difference I see between the two teams, Rodney.
I'm with you on that. The lobbing and the spotting of the drives.
Yep.
Advantage Cruz Rodenzo.
They got to get this hold point here, Mark. Got to get on the board, stop the hemorrhaging.
Well, that was a surprising decision for Cynthia Dardis.
Dardis Shay lead the second set 3-1.
Footwork.
They won the first set.
Was an issue there. But they're serving a 3-1 second set. They won the first set 6-2.
There's the forehand you've been looking for.
Yeah, she's starting to hit it out of that deuce side more. She went to the ad,
15.
bombed away, and now she's doing it back on the deuce for the first time.
I don't understand that.
You mean like where it's been?
Yeah.
I'm with you. She has a beautiful forehand.
I saw her play the first 2 matches and she was hitting the forehand a lot.
There's some lobs, some better lobbing. Dardis and Shay work in the middle. Wow.
Yeah, that was a really well-played point from Cruz and Rodenzo, and they got a bad break. Although, again, the forehand was not spotted properly. Don't want to beat a dead horse.
Look at good volley from Shay. She flipped to a forehand, squared it up beautifully. Love the no panic from Dardis. Great lob. Let it go to the screen and start over. That was going out. See those lobs might be out, but they've lobbed so well and so deep they just think they're all going in. Wow. The depth on that volley, Mark. Uh-oh. Well.
Indecision there, Rodney. You could see her hesitate.
Well, she wanted to drive it. She had the green light, but all of a sudden the ball got within 2 inches of that side screen, maybe tighter, and she needed to just be more patient there. She needed a little more Jerry Viant in her.
Rodney, everybody needs a little more Jerry Viant in them. Whether it comes to a 75-acre form or just playing smart paddle.
Wow.
That ball,
40-15.
Wild forehand.
40-15, a chance to go up 4-1.
40-30.
Thou shalt not fault, the 11th commandment, Mark. See, she needs to be able to drive that ball too.
Yep, I agree completely.
She's 3 feet inside the green, just a nice little roller just to keep them honest.
And the ball came off so hot.
Great blitz.
That was better. She was closer when she started inside the court as opposed to being 2 feet behind the baseline.
That's well said. Catch it earlier. They fought back to deuce now. They were down 40-15.
Great lob, sets it up. She spots the forehand, and they win the point. So there it is, Rodney, just what we talked about. Lob better, spot the forehand.
Biggest point of the match.
So
for the young gals.
Cruz Nicolescu, second set. Dardis and Shay switching at the net to get Shay's overhead in the middle.
Pushing them back a little more now. There it is.
Game Cruz Rodenzo.
Smart
Dardis
game there from Cruz Rodenzo. They're back on serve in set number 2. A minute ago they were in danger of going down a double break. Now they're back on. Viking Athletics is the premier brand and the undisputed leader in platform tennis. Viking is platform tennis. The Viking Extra Duty platform ball has been the #1 selling ball in the industry for the last 20 years. It's the official ball of the APTA, of the AP Nationals and President's Cup, as well as the Grand Prix Tour. Well, Rodney, looks like we got a match.
Well, that was huge. They go down 4-1 after having lost the first set 6-2. That's a big mountain to climb, but we do know this, Mark. There's no racket sport out there that has more momentum swings than our game.
Amazing. Okay, we're going to get this Viking logo down. Thank you.
No lead is big enough.
Well, that's why you just got to fight to the end. Great blitz
from
Dardis. And there's an example of how well they work together. Cynthia Dardis hits the great lob, sets up Amy's forehand and Amy Shay's forehand. As she does trust, she blitzes, Shay hits the dipper, Dardis hits the winning volley.
Left hand knows what the right hand's doing there. I'd like to watch them let a few of those high lobs bounce. They might be going out. They're starting to lose their bearings on the depth of those lobs. And if it's in, they just play it off the back screen.
A great exchange at the net.
Trench warfare.
Dardis and Shay are so good at staying in points.
Look at them switching the back. They got back into their normal corners. What a point here we got. This is the kind of point you don't want to lose. You've invested so much energy and effort into this. They keep going after that. And Dardis knows the right touch. Look at this. The young kids can run.
I think she was running for that long before Dardis made contact. She telegraphed that one. Big point.
That's Dardis has missed some overheads. He's missed 4 or 5 overheads in the last 6 8 games. That's a lot. For her, she doesn't miss hardly any, I'm sure.
And they were defensive overheads too, which makes it even more surprising.
That sneaky little forehand off the screen just to keep them honest. Look how deep she gets that lob. They're always behind the service line.
Oh, that's a ball you can't miss.
15-30.
Just dumped that ball in the middle of the court. Looked like she was trying to find the wires there.
Especially when you volley as well as they do. There's no reason to miss that. What a return.
15-40.
Sign of a great team is bouncing right back after they got broken, and they're 1 point away from doing it. Look how she stepped into that return.
And the spotting of the forehand on the right hip. And we got another break.
They lead the second set 4-2.
That hurts, doesn't it, Rodney?
Well, it does. You got some momentum going, and you think you have momentum going, and then quickly they squelch it.
Platform tennis at its finest.
It's just so fun to watch the contrasting styles, you know, young versus experienced, hitters versus setters. Not that Dardis and Shay don't hit the ball. They hit at the right times, which is kind of the key. Look at those volleys from Dardis.
Yep, that was a really well spotted forehand, and it didn't matter.
Chicken winged it. She, again, if you notice, Dardis didn't flip that paddle to the forehand. She just kicked that elbow out in a chicken wing fashion. And it's easier to square the paddle up that way, gang. You flip to the forehand, you're going to get a little crooked. Higher. They are going higher, Mark. Even if the lobs are short, if they're high, they're a little bit better than if they're short and low.
Yeah, that was a good swing there by Miriam, but she misses the backhand.
Train's getting rolling down the tracks here. 4-2, 30 love. I formation. Gives her a signal.
I'd love to hear some comments from everybody in the chat room. There's that big forehand we haven't seen enough of from Miriam Cruz.
There's that lob that I would love to let her bounce.
Wow, look how deep they drove her. In a lot of ways, Dardis and Shay are just quintessential old school battle. Cynthia Dardis started running for that ball.
Look at
it. Before she swung at it, before Miriam Cruz swung at it.
She sure did. And what a great shot that Dardis hit when she did run that ball down. A perfect lob on the line, and then made the overhead die in Rodenzo's corner. 40 love, 1 point away from 5-2. Second set, won the first set 6-2.
5-2 Hannes van Starnberg, second set. Looks like we may be going 3 over there.
Who are they playing again, Mark?
Bodman Hayward.
Chicago. They work out with one of my former pros, Peter Burka, who's playing in here this week.
40-15.
So there Amy Shea tried to make that hero volley and missed it.
She doesn't like to bail out, does she?
Nope. Our number 1 seeds, Cruz and Nicolescu, are through with a 6-4, 6-3 win over Liz Jaffe and Myrthe Molenwald.
40-30.
Shea takes us to 40-30 here. They'll play the winner of the Van Starnberg Hannes Bodman Hayward match.
Some leaves starting to blow in here. Look at them trickling down.
Oh, that's just spectacular volleying, Rodney.
We want to replay that point.
Yeah, it's a good point. 6-2, 4-2, 40-30.
some trench warfare. Tell you what, you'd be hard pressed to find a better volleying team than Dardis and Shay.
Yep.
Great communication, just a meet. They both broke for the ball, but
So
Shay
it's
called it.
40-30 here. Dardis and Shay serving in the 7th game of the 2nd set. Oh, such a great
Game
point.
Dardis
Rodezno
Shay.
plays and she
They lead the
misses that.
second set 5 games to 2.
After all that,
they won
you
the
do
first
that
set 6-2.
again. What about just a little push? The team had already retreated. Give them
This
that up.
swinging forehand volley.
New school.
But what was she going to accomplish? If she makes the shot, Rodney, what happens?
They're just going to play it off the screen,
Right.
so that's why you just push it.
To me, it's all about risk and reward. There was obviously a significant amount of risk in attempting that shot and virtually no reward.
I think she must have looked up and saw them retreating and took her eye off the ball and mishit that one a smidge, but I think another observation we made earlier is, there we go, now they're talking. That's what we need to see, because
Been very little of that.
5-2 40 love last night. I think it was Madik Jasinski was playing with Alex Pinchilla against Burka and Gambino. Gambino was down 5-2 40 love, came back in the league match. Wow. Won the match. So it's no league is big enough.
Big shout out to another Chicagoland person, Sally Cottingham, one of my favorite people in the whole world, Rodney. Hopefully she's watching.
I do too. Hi Sally, hope it's all good.
There's another great forehand from Shay, really spotting the ball well.
Great rip.
Again, right at the right hip.
First point of the 8th game of the 2nd set. Dardis Shay up 5-2. They won the first set 6-2. So now we're into crunch time for Cruz and Rodenzo. This is where they should just pitch the tent and try to wear them down. I always love this last resort strategy in matches, because you can just work your way back in.
It's the beauty of the game, isn't it? Clock's not going to run out.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to step up to the line and hit 4 aces.
Now we're lobbing.
Interesting that they're switched sides of the backcourt and don't look like they're interested in switching back. Great dig from Rodezno there.
Work in the middle a little bit here. Dardis and Shay are. Almost nicked it, maybe.
Low percentage, started
Love
too deep in
15.
the court. Great point from Amy Shay. Really controlled that point with her overhead. Hit a great volley from the service line. There's that
Great
spotted
return.
forehand we talk about, Rodney.
That's the one she opened the match with. Great lob from Cruz. It's the altitude that got the job done.
all.
Lovely. Love the play of Dardis over there. Dardis and Shay ham and egg and complement each other perfectly.
And they play such high margin paddle. Even when they're driving the ball, it just Stuff that you expect to make 8, 9, 10 times out of 10.
Dardis has got
30,
such soft
15.
hands on those wires. She never lobs long. She keeps a nice touch on the ball.
They lost that last point, but if they play that point 10 times, they win at 8.
Wow.
She's just killing them with that forehand drive down the line, and you've seen no adjustment.
They need to go Aussie or I. Got to flip it around. So they got so much they can learn from this, and that's one of the great things too, Mark. Is these matches get archived.
Get to watch it.
And they can watch and learn.
Get to listen to the great Rodney Workman and understand what you did wrong.
Yeah, well.
That would have cost what, $300-400 an hour when you were at Wensia?
Prices have come way down.
And there's the blitz. Great exchange.
Well, look at the athleticism.
And there it is. Game, set, match. Dardis Shay, 6-2, 6-2.
Set and match. They win 6-2,
just been informed by the large landowner Jerry Viant that we're going to try and move Hannish van Starnberg over to the third set of their match with Bodman and Hayward.
Love that idea.
Okay, so we're going to take a fast break for commercial, and then we'll be back with that match.
We do it well. We do it real well.
Once a customer gets used to that, why would you want to leave? We treat you well.
Welcome back to the PNC Steel City Open. We're going to bring you the final set of this quarterfinal match between Floor Hannish and Annika van Starnberg, and they're playing against Hallie Bodman and Liz Hayward. I think we're warming up here.
He just switched courts for us.
They just switched courts, getting a new ball ready. Apparently there was a tremendous first set tiebreak which turned on a let court and a nick for Hallie Bodman.
Third set.
Okay, third set. Annika van Starnberg in the orange hat will be serving to Hallie Bodman in the deuce court. Floor catches the nick on the short lob. And it's interesting, Rodney, we watched Bodman Hayward, your Chicago women, play earlier, and they want to play fast. They don't want to grind.
No, they are bangers. Every ball remotely in their strike zone is going to get hit. They'll blitz a lot. It's relentless pressure. I mean, I think they're overall they have the game to beat the top teams if they really play the great match. Okay, there's a drop shot.
Oh,
wow.
Great volley.
Maybe get this on instant replay. Oh, what a good one. Interesting match they had. It was a classic 6-0, 1-6, 6-0 match, and the round is 16. You don't see that score every day, do you?
No, you don't. So 15 all, first game, final set. right away you see Hanisch and Van Starnberg hitting a lot of hard overheads that are tough to drive, slowing the pace of play down.
They build a nice wall there at net. You can see how close they are to each other. Waterfall overhead, a little too hard. Like all great teams, you hear the constant chit-chat.
Good swing from Liz Hayward, catches the top of the tape. 40-15. That was not a well-spotted forehand, though, was it?
Mm-mm. She'd like to have it back. And
serve called out by Liz Hayward, overruled by our umpire. And it's game to Hanisch Van Starnberg. Rodney, talk a little bit about spotting the forehand.
Well, it's all about location and not power. And if you keep hitting the same ball to the backhand, middle, outer third of the body, they're going to use their backhand. But you got to go to that right hip, make them either chicken wing it or flip it, and understanding that if they chicken wing it, it's easier to keep the paddle square. If they flip it, then the ball's going to go crooked. It's harder to square the paddle up. So I always use Greg Maddox as a great pitcher. He didn't throw hard, but he located and dominated. And locating the drives is everything.
And obviously you're talking about against a right-hander with that right hip.
Right-hander,
Left-hander
right hip.
would be the left hip.
Indeed. You have to remember where you hit your previous forehand, and you just keep moving it around. I call it the search and probe program, where you're not just randomly blasting, but you're specifically aiming for spots. Wow.
Annika Van Starnberg is just a wonderful athlete. I mean, in a tour with lots of great athletes, she's one of the best.
She took that ball on the rise, closing in quickly.
Look at the aggressive position Hanisch Van Starnberg taking return to serve, both in tight, looking to attack.
Tough ball to drive, you know, trying to fight fire with fire.
Annika won the singles tournament. Annika Van Starnberg won the singles tournament a few weeks back.
I knew her as Annika Cooper in Chicago. There she goes. She was a top tennis player coming out of the Midwest. I believe played at UCLA.
40.
And great kid. Really nice.
Boy, there's a lot of momentum for Hanisch Van Starnberg here.
Shoulder high, let her fly.
30-40.
Especially on a hot day. If it is in, it's going to bounce off the screen and come right back to you.
A lot of conversation between Bodman and Hayward. You like to see that. Looked like Hallie Bodman pulled up short on the last couple points ago. I wonder if she hurt herself.
Huh. Well, they got their game plan together. They're going Aussie. Serves up the center tee. Great drive.
Great example of what you were talking about earlier.
James
Annika Van Starnberg hit that ball at its apex and was able to come down on the ball, descending below. The ball actually landed in the service box, which made it very difficult to volley.
Perfectly done.
You see Hanisch Van Starnberg, a lot of positive energy.
These gals are in shape.
15 love.
Hayward and Bodman Hayward have got to do something right now to find a way to turn this around, because you can really feel the water going down the drain.
They got to get some points in play here and try to work it and create something. And there we go.
A great ball from Liz Hayward.
15 all.
Again, to your point, Mark, she made her flip that volley to a forehand, and then it power fails into the net. That's the other thing. You get what I call power failures when you flip. It's tough to square it up, get it firm.
15-30.
And it just dumps in the net. 15-30. Bodman and Hayward need to get on the board.
That's the place to me that you see Bodman and Hayward struggle. When a team is able to make that first volley and get into the long points, where's the offense coming from for them?
Well, again, Holly was off balance and needs to just get it high. Don't go for too much depth.
But they don't want to play that style for the most part, which is...
That's not their game.
Yeah.
Then she just returned a ball in the net. Maybe she's getting a little tired. They had a 3-setter. And this has been going on a while here.
Couple of faults from Flor Hanisch keeping him in the game.
Flor giving it right back to her. She's got that spring launch off the serve, new school footwork. Yep, it's going out, but that's why you hit it hard. Nice play here. Little flip. Just missed it.
Boy, Bodman had them in all sorts of trouble and shanked that volley. Let him back in the point.
Great blitz by Holly. It's easier said than done to finish on a warm day. You got to find the hole and get it through at the right pace.
It's very easy up here, Rodney. We haven't missed a shot all day.
Best I've seen you play in a while.
Which isn't saying much.
Great serve.
3-love. Those are the types of errors you cannot afford to make at this juncture of the match. And she, I don't know what she was trying to do with that ball. She wasn't really driving it, but she didn't lob it.
It's just a hot day. The ball's going forward. It's a back screen, side screen. You just have to barely touch it, because if you give it more than a touch, she gone. Would it be different if it was 0 degrees out there now, Mark?
That would still would have been long, Rodney.
You think?
We encourage questions in our chat room. Please feel free to ask us anything about the match. If you're having problems with your feed, John Scott will respond to that.
Matt Tolucci just chimed in.
Okay,
ask us some questions.
Hunterspin, Starnberg. This is almost a must-hold for Hayward.
Can't dig too big a hole here.
Love 15.
Winner of this match is going to play our #1 seeds, Liz Cruz and Gabby Nicolescu.
Oh.
There's the ball that Marion Cruz wasn't hitting. That down, up, overhead to the forehand. And you've seen Flor Hanisch go after it a couple of times and been successful with it. That's a ball you have to attack.
Well, the ball caromed off Holly's racket and hit her in the head. I hope she's okay.
Not surprisingly, she's smiling.
Once again, Flor made her flip it. Notice the wall that Holly and Liz build, and they move together like a pair of windshield wipers. Since they're both right-handed, Holly's the captain of all the overheads, and then Liz covers the volley just like that, perfectly demonstrated. Great point.
15-30.
It's interesting watching Hanisch Van Starnberg. They both play tight in the court, look to take the ball early, look to steal time away from you. Bounce hit, as Jerry Viant likes to say.
Take it early. Like Annika's great at that.
Maybe the best in the game, although again, Flor in tight, hurting him with the bounce, the high bouncing overhead, that down up overhead.
It's like she's aiming for that side tee and hitting it pretty darn often.
15-40. Oh, that's a smart ball. I don't know what Hallie's doing there. She kind of stopped.
I think she's fatigued a hair. You're right.
Reaching for her hip again.
They lead the third
You
set,
did
4
mention she
games
might
to
have
love.
tweaked something there earlier.
Boy, the national champions are a freight train rolling down the tracks pretty fast right now. I know that Bodman Hayward have any answers.
Well, if they do, they better find it soon. Like that overhead. I like that hard C overhead.
But it all starts with what? A short lob.
Can't hit that overhead on a deep one.
Boy, Scott Kaler and his team have done a wonderful job here at the Fox Chapel Racket Club, setting everything up. It's just beautiful.
It is gorgeous. What a wonderful setting we have here. Court cut right into a side of a mountain.
Again, Bodman Hayward now in a grinding sort of point. Lots of lobbing.
Footwork. Needs to increase the footwork intensity.
Hallie doesn't look right to me.
Well, definitely different than that a third set of the round of 16 match. There's no comparison. So,
Well, both sets may have been 6-love, so there is one comparison.
great lob from Holly.
Yeah, Floor's too good an athlete to hit that overhead against her, Floranish.
I like Annika's cut overhead. She gets some pretty good sizzle on it too, which has some effect off the screens.
That's a ball you expect Liz Hayward to make.
Contact point was behind her.
Lack of footwork intensity.
Mm-hmm. That's that drive off the screen where you want to let the ball go past you and then footwork up to the ball.
Move with the ball.
Exactly.
5-love, final set.
The third set, 5 games to love.
Well, I wonder if Holly and Liz believe in miracles. They're going to need one here, but you know what? Much more in paddle it happens than tennis. We've all seen 5-0 leads evaporate.
I have never seen one, Rodney, but that's largely a result of never being up 5-love. Usually I blow my leads earlier in the match.
Well, you don't see this scenery in Chicago.
This would constitute a mountain in Chicago.
Yeah, I
Rodney.
used the mountain. It's maybe a hill, but it looks like a mountain to me. All right, here we go. Annika's just laying in the weeds waiting for that two-hander.
Yep.
There's that. Nice soft hands.
Good communication back there.
You know she's in trouble when she says help 3 times with authority. Look at Annika. She missed a ball and it hurts her even at 5-love. That's the great player competitive spirit. They don't want to lose any points. Look how she catches that ball on the right. She's old school in that footwork.
15
That's what I was talking about earlier, how much tighter in the court they play than anybody else. They really steal time from you.
For sure, and that means the first volley is hit another 2-3 feet deeper. I love that old saying, on the rise, give them a big surprise.
Great hands.
Wow.
Same thing there from Floor, taking the ball early.
Yeah, and they have more Eastern, almost continental forehand grips, you know, so they get on top of the ball. Wow. That's a great point. We may want to rewind that one.
15-30.
5-love, 15 all in the third set.
That's a great paddle point.
So it's 15-30 now. Hallie Bodman serving. 2 points from the match.
There it is again, on the rise. Quick surprise.
Annika is killing him that way.
Nice job, Annika.
Double match point.
Great.
Great catch.
Great. All right, I like the... Oh, nice overhead. Hallie Bodman.
Saves one match point.
40.
Look at Liz staying back. I like it, even on match point. Staying back, giving them the net. Game, set, match.
Game, set, match. Hannes van Sparrenburg, 6-7, 6-2, 6-love.
6-2, 6-0. Well done, ladies. Great.
Well,
Rodney, any closing thoughts?
Well, I was hoping for a better result for my fellow Chicagoans. Liz can now focus on the Cubs, Liz and Holly both. Bring them home a victory. But I'll tell you what, Annika and Floor are looking very strong. I love their returns to serve, catching it earlier than I think almost any team in the tournament.
I agree. It's going to be a terrific semifinal against our #1 seed, Cruz and Nicolescu. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
When's the last time they've played each other, Mark, do you think?
Well, Cruz and Nicolescu are a new team, but last year at Nationals, Hannes van Starnberg took out the #1 seeds of Nicolescu on Drekova in a 3-setter. It was the only match they lost all year. So we're going to be back with our next women's semifinal at 4:15 p.m. Until then, we're going to have the stream running live, and feel free to chime in the chat room. Rodney, pleasure working with you.
And you as well, Mark. Thank you very much.
We'll be back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA Network. It's presented by eNet Live.